Yeah. Good morning to all. My name is Ravi Saronyar, interning with the Nature Sai. I want to welcome you all for this exciting and knowledgeful Paryavaran Darshan webinar. Before we proceed, I would like to introduce my team member present here, Shivli Mukherjee. The Nature Sai powered by Wildlife is a group of nature enthusiasts who wish to share their knowledge and experiences with the world. They strive to bring informative and educational content from the tiny living world to the city of the dwellers. Their motto is to empower environmentalists by creating opportunity not only for the budding environmentalists, but also the people related to this field, also the one who want to join in through their various offline and online programs. The Nature Side works on the bridging ecology and economy. We highly appreciate the working with the ecology and nature enthusiasts who wish to bring change by spreading education and awareness. This is one such attempt of the nature with the training and intensive program which are we are part of. There are number of such events in the line as well. Now coming towards today's event, we have a moment with us Dr. Arun Rajendran. He holds a degree in physiotherapy and Ayurvedic medicine and surgery. He has served his knowledge in a various roles as an Ayurveda expert and medical officer using Indian practices. In today's scenario, he is enhancing his knowledge of Indian culture in sustainability at Nalanda University as a student of MA in Hindu Studies. He has been a part of the numerous events across the India and globe of environmental conservation practices and sustainability speaks. Before I hand over the session to our speakers, I request all the participants to keep themselves muted. If you have any queries, please type it down in the chat box. We will take up all the questions by the end of today's session. Thank you once again. Welcome, sir. Over to you, sir. Arun, sir, over to you.
Thank you, Ravi. Um, Good morning, all. Now in Kerala, we have a wonderful week. Like after a long time, we are having a wonderful monsoon this time. So it came late, but it is awesome this year. Like a continuous rain since 5 days. Uh, it's fun. Like it takes back to our, like the childhood days. So our first of all, let me thank the Nature Side team to give me this opportunity. I hope it will help me to grow further, and also it will help me as a person to share whatever insights I got in past years and in my studies and in my work. I would like to share that with you people so that I can nourish them further. And like I'll be a more student, I'll be more like a student than a speaker here. So my intention will be to put my insights in front of you. Let's discuss on that. Let this be an active session, not like a one-side radio program kind of thing. So we'll take, as Ravi said, we'll take all the discussions up to the point. Okay. Uh, and I'm very open and humble. Like my expertise as an environmentalist is very in front of you guys who are more into environment and like just a beginner. But I will try to connect where the Indic sciences and where uh, we can use these insights from Indic sciences in developing an Indian way of approaching environment. So we already know them. Like this is nothing a new rocket science or like entirely new scenario. We are already knowingly, unknowingly practicing this, but in last decades, maybe post-independence, we were more concentrating towards a progress, industrial growth, and like we had lot of hurdles to cross. So in that course of time, we forgot many things. So I just want to brush up those ideas and bring them back into our notice so that it can be used for the betterment. of Um, I will try to share my screen once again. Give me a moment. Mhm. Hope everybody can see my screen.
Yes.
Ravi? Okay, thank you. Thank you. So the heading that we opted for this program was like Paryavarana Darshan. It's a typical Sanskrit word. It's not a traditional Sanskrit word actually. It's a coined word. It goes that like an exact translation of what environment is. So the environment, the etymology comes from the French word where environ means that encircles. So, following the same path, this word is been came into existence. Paryavaran. Avarana is the covering or something that covers or encompasses or includes. So, Paryavarana means like that which covers us. So, Pari means outside me. Okay, so the periphery. So that which covers everything, including me, can be called as going here. Like to understand the term is called the Paryavaran, the same as environment. Whereas the darshanam is a word that literally means the vision or perception or the way we see, or it also means mirror. Okay. Whereas in Indian context, darshanam also means philosophy. Whenever we consider philosophy in Indian context, we have one difference from like we have to understand the difference between technical difference between the word darshana and philosophy because uh, that is very important in create for me to create my the basics in this line. So here, when we use the term darshana, it's not just philosophy. Like it's not just like the love for knowledge or the quest for knowledge. Here, sure, it is a quest for knowledge, but than the quest for knowledge, it's a way or like the method or the method of our perception is more important. So darshan is more about the perception and the perceiver than about just about the knowledge. So it's about there is a perceiver as I, we, and we perceive this world. So how we perceive this world, like what are the elements that helps in perception of this world is the question here. So darshan basically, even though it's a philosophy, here we give emphasis on this mode, like a perceiver and the world he is perceiving. Okay. And there are some criteria. So we will just give you some glimpse like how this darshanam can be useful in concepts of environment. So before connecting it with environment, today's session we will try to bring all the basic points or brush up the basic points of darshan that we already know, being living in Indian subcontinent and related cultures. We will be obviously we are pretty much aware of this session, but we just have to brush up and point out the things. So this I already explained, the environment itself is the Paryavarana. Okay. So when we observe this world, okay, uh, we can see or like we can divide this entire world into two aspects. Okay. This is I'm speaking from the point of an individual. Okay. So when we observe as an individual, there is an individual I. I am here, and there is a world around me which is not I. Okay. So this is a first point of observation that is made by our forefathers or like the earlier teachers that, okay, when I see this world, okay, why I am seeing this world is separate? Because there is an I, okay, which is very much individualistic, only I can perceive. And there's a world which every other individuals can also perceive at the same time, I'm also perceive. So this is the first aspect that we have to bring to our mind when we hear about darshan. And the same thing, the Paryavarana. So here the Paryavarana can be equivalent to the world I am viewing outside. Okay, there is an individual I, and my Paryavarana, my environment is the world that I am seeing outside. So it can include all aspects. It can be the economic aspect. It can be the like the nature aspect, it can be the physical aspect, it can be the family aspect. So anything that is outside me and that covers me. And actually, and it is very difficult to make a to draw a strict line or like to separate the individual me from this entire covering that's around me. So we will try to understand how it is, to what level we can separate these two, segregate these two, and at what level we have to consider this as a whole. Okay. So Darshana, we here when we see about Darshana, we have to understand these three aspects. One is a perception, and one is a perceived and the perceiver. So here the perceiver is the I, the individual you or individual me. He is the perceiver or she is the perceiver, the guy who is seeing this world. So like in modern physics also has come to the point that without a perceiver, that nothing exists. So even without a perceiver, even if something happens, it's equivalent to like nothing happened. So the perceiver is pretty much important, and the perception varies from individual to individual. So yes, we can come to a universal point. Okay, so when we discuss philosophy in our classes, we say like the red that I see may not be the same as a red that you see. Okay, but all call it red. But we are not sure, okay, whether the red that I see is same as a red. But we have some common features. So everybody call the same color as red, but we are never sure, okay, whether we see all these red as the same. Okay, but still we are able to identify them. So we have to identify, like understand a bit of this context, so that will help us to progress further. So there is a perceiver who perceive the world according to his experiences and his memories, his past experience, his present experience, and his memories. He's learning that what he's learned from his environment. And there's a perceive. Perceive is the world here. Okay, in our context, we can consider this as the environment. So we as a per individual is perceiving this world. So the perceived can be the knowledge, or it can be the environment, the things that are happening around us. And there is something that connects between the perceiver and the perceived is a process of perception. Okay, the perception has to happen. And the perception can happen at different levels, and different, we can analyze the perception in different ways. That also we will come into like we'll have a eagle eye view on how this perception is understood in sciences. So if I'm going too fast, please let me know, because I have adopted a methodology where I will just give you the topics and will explain the basics, and then we can go for a active discussion. Okay. So the another miles, like the cornerstone that we have to keep in mind when we get into Indian sciences or Indic views is the understanding of Karya and Karan. So these two are the Sanskrit words, and which is like commonly seen in other like others like other all Indian languages, almost all Indian languages I have these two words with the same meaning. Where Karya is the what we say, the result or what we see, and the Karma is the cause. Excuse me, just one moment, just one moment. Sorry for the break. Uh, so we have to understand this typically this Karya and Karana influence the entire vision in India. So whatever we see in this world, even in our day-to-day life, we are too much concerned about the cause and the results. Okay. So even the karma siddhanta, which will come later tomorrow, even that this karya karna understanding only leads us to all these perceptions. The idea of there's a karma, and we are following that. All these things will come from the same karya karana siddhanta. So this is no, this is not just available in India. This kind of perception is available in other civilizations also, and it is pretty much gives us the scientific view of like searching the cause, searching for the cause, and with the right cause, there will be a right results. All this like so there's a lot of influence in philosophic way and also the scientific way, and even in our day-to-day common life. Okay, I will give you some example in upcoming slides. So we have to understand these dynamics that happens between the cause and the effects. Okay, we have to keep that in mind. So from Karya Karana, we are just going to a bit into the list of philosophies that are supporting us. Okay, so understanding once we at some point of the philosophical growth or like discussions in India, they confirm that with this point that okay, there is a cause and there's a result. And observing the result, we can understand the cause, and understanding the cause, we can we can say that what can be the result. And this slowly led to the further discussion from this point led to the evolution of different philosophies in Indian standard. So in our next slide, we will go to the major Indian philosophies which are relevant for present day. The thing is like the sequence which we are following here today is not as usually seen in the academy. So there's a change because in the academia usually we follow from a European stand perspective. So or like their classification is be different. It's useful in learning, but that will not fully give the fruit. So we are just making some changes in that so that we can understand the flow of philosophy and how this concept from this understanding of this cause and effect and how this resulted in different philosophies in India and how from the very early stage of civilization to present day, how we evolved. So that will give us some idea. So here are the philosophies. There are 9 major philosophies that we have to keep in mind. Whereas Sankhya philosophy, so we all might have heard like at least once in the school at least like, about the Sankhya philosophy. Actually, Sankhya it can be considered as mother of all Indian philosophy. So without Sankhya, it's difficult or it's unable. It's impossible to understand any other philosophy in Indian perspective. Okay, so Sankhya lays the first floor. So Sankhya sets the stage, and then from there the philosophy slowly evolved, and the new ideas came in. So these ideas are not exactly something new innovations. New clarifications will come in. So at the same time, this Sankhya point of view is still relevant. So then the next point of view will come. Okay, they have some like we get the new models of mobile. So we are getting a new versions of the same philosophy. So basically, all this Indian philosophy we can consider it as a different version of Sankhya philosophy. So when we go into the classical text, we can see that without establishing Sankhya, no, even though it may be the Bauddha, Jaina, whatever it may be, it's difficult for them to establish their philosophy without understanding or speaking about Sankhya. I will come into that point. So first, let me just use the flow. The Sankhya is there, and from there, Sankhya is more philosophical, it's more intellectual. Okay. So from there, the yoga philosophy came up, and the yoga is more kind of practical way of attaining. So from Sankhya to yoga, the difference is the idea of moksha, the idea of attaining liberty, and all this slowly comes up. It gets more evolved. And then comes the Nyaya and Vaisheshika. Nyaya and Vaisheshika, more than a philosophy, these two schools give the methodology. So they are more rational, they are more logic, and influence of this Nyaya and Vaisheshika over Sankhya and Yoga leads to the further evolvement, like evolution of philosophies or like visions in school, the perceptions in India. So then the Charvakas are there, like the Charvakas are usually said as the rebels in the game. No, they are not like that. The Charvakas are very clear that okay, they only believe in what they see with their direct eyes. Okay, so there are many points we have to 100% accept from Charvakas. At the same time, there are many points which are disagreed by other scholars. So from the Charvakas, then the Nurgranthas are there. Nurgranthas are basically Jains, the Jain philosophy, the like actually a bit above the Jain philosophy. So Jain philosophy is an byproduct, like it's a evolution of Nurgrantha philosophy. So here the Grantha means tie or knots. So Nurgrantha means someone without ties or without knots. So when we come towards Nurgrantha philosophy, they will be more concentrating on untie the knots in our life and all. Okay, so this is a very basic primary understanding. And then comes a Bauddha through most major Buddha we consider is Gautama Buddha, the Siddhartha. So there are other Buddhas also. As per Buddhism, there are 24 Buddhas, and but the most important of the time is Siddhartha. So Siddhartha is the one who has given a different like twist to the entire Indian thought process. So here, after Sankhya, the next major twist happens at the time of Siddhartha Gautama. So then Siddhartha Gautama and the other two philosophies, the Mimamsa and Vedanta, then they have some the evolutions and some change and some new ideas comes up, but they cannot separate themselves from Buddha's ideas or Buddha's vision. So all this we have to understand, like so there is a Sankhya philosophy, then slowly flows into the present day Vedanta philosophy. So all these philosophies are relevant, still relevant. It is not like okay, one get the dominance over the other and then the change. So when we see their text, the discussion between these different schools, we will say okay, they are fighting with each other. No, they are establishing their points with due respect. Okay, so we have to understand that from the from this we will go and understand like about how this universe is being perceived. So it is very common that I don't know whether you have asked this question yourself. So when I went into the philosophy realm, I have asked this question myself. Okay, one of the questions that I had was like, why only 5 Mahabuddhas? Why not 6? Why not 4? Because even 4, like some scholars consider only 4 Mahabuddhas because Akasha as a universal thing. So they still, even though it is a Mahabuddha, so they don't say it as count it along with Buddha. That difference is there. Otherwise, why specifically 5 Mahabuddhas? So this question, to answer this question, we have to start from the Sankhya. So why I am bringing this 5 Mahabuddhas? Because understanding the Indic way of understanding the world, we need these 5 Mahabuddhas. Mahabuddhas literally means the great elements by which the world is constructed up with. Like these are the elements, the building blocks of the world, and why they are 5. With the belief that you have some maybe like some understanding about the Sankhya philosophy, or like I will try to explain it, give you the very basic. So in Sankhya, they mainly speak about Purusha and a Prakriti. So here Purusha doesn't mean a man or a person. So it can be considered as an individual. Okay, an individual. Purusha here means an individual. And there is a Prakriti, which is the physical world around him. So there's an individual and a physical world around him. And the Sankhya says the creation happens when the individual looks, when this Prakriti gets the drishti of this individual. So when the individual looks around and he sees the physical world, the creation happens. This is how they start talking about the creation of this universe. So that is a very logical thing. It's not just mythical story or nothing. I will try to give you the mere logical reasoning for why they said like that. Okay, and why there is only 5 Mahabuddhas. These two answers will be coming together. So how many senses we have? So when we just, any doubt, any question? So why typically five Mahabhutas? Because when we see this world as an individual, being the Purusha, being the perceiver, we have only five options to see this world because we have only five senses. We have five senses and we see this world through these five senses. These are the windows for us to view this world. Okay. And with these five senses, we can see the world in five ways, or like five categories can be seen with these five senses. And each sense is connected with one category of perception. And that makes one Mahabhuta. For example, the Akasha Mahabhuta is there, which can be at a very primary level. We can say it as a space, or some say it as a ether. But the best word to say about Akasha is Akasha. It's very difficult to translate it to other English words. So where Akasha is not just a sky, Akasha is not just the ether. It is the definition is Akasha Syat Avakasha. Avakasha means that gives us space for existence. So so without space, there should be some space to exist. Huh? So otherwise we cannot exist. So Akasha gives that space. And this very space is being identified with the sound. It says, okay, the sound, Shabda Guna. The sound is a quality of this Akasha and it is being perceived by the ear. So the ear perceives sound and sound is perceived as an eye because only without space the vibrations cannot happen. So if it is a tight packed situation, the vibration, the quality of vibration will be less. The more the space is there, the more good the vibration. So we can understand it that way. We hear the sound, don't just means literal sound, it's a vibration that we hear. So likewise, we have these five senses, and we like in the eyes will perceive the fire. Okay, that is related with light and again some kinds of radiation. So here it is vibration, with sound it is vibration, with the eyes it is radiation. And then where the tongue is there, which gives us a taste, and that gives the water element, jala, and then with the nose that gives a smell, that gives the earth element. And then the touch is the wind. Okay, so that is some, and again these. So to explain this, I may have to take hours to go into further details. But if you have some specific details, we can get into it. But for the basic understanding, my intention is to bring you to the point. We have five elements because we have five senses. It is how we perceive the world. Okay, it is not just that, okay, somebody came and he made the five elements and then he made this world out of it. No, if that is the understanding, that is wrong. Because this world is always there and it will be always there. And we as a perceiver perceive this world with this five, with the help of five perceptions, and so we perceive it in five categories. So we say that this world is made up of five elements. Okay, that was my intention. Then when we perceive this world, we have two levels of instruments that we are using, like tools of perception. So some are external. Okay, when we interact with this environment or with this world, some are external and some are internal. So the externally, we have this five sense that looks outward and receives the senses from the perception from the outside. And at the same time, there are like five karma indriyas also. So these are the five jnana indriyas, five senses, and five like action related five organs are also like our hands, leg, tongue. All these organs are the reproductive organ, the excretory organs. So that is not much relevant here. And the another one part is relevant is the antarkarana. Then the external, the sense organs and the organs of action. We have some four antarkaranas, like internal organs, so like the different levels. So that goes more with the psychology part, but still we have to understand. So that are the manas, the buddhi, the ahankara, and chitta. So in combination, this is the mind, as the modern science says. But these are the four realms of mind. So, to why I am bringing up this Antakarna here is because without understanding these levels of perception, it is difficult to perceive the world or understand how the ending way of perceiving this world is. Oh. So here we might have seen like that there are many stotra, slogans, and that which says about manas, buddhiya, ahankara, and chitta. So where manas is that faculty that receives the sense information that is brought in by the sense organs. And buddhi is the discriminative faculty. So there is a faculty that receives information. Okay, and there's a faculty that discriminate or like that analyzes the data got in. And there is a faculty called ahankara. That is not ahankara is not ego exactly. It is the I-ness. Because without identifying the individual, me, this perception is of vain. So there is a level of mind where we perceive it as I, perceive ourselves. Okay. And then there's a chitta that which is more the storage part or the memory part and all. So these are the four levels of mind that we have to just keep in mind in understanding this. So, I said that I will just review fastly, revisit the points I said fastly. So there is a karya, there's a cause, and there's an effect. And from the cause effect, we came to mm, the philosophies and how the flow of philosophy happened. Okay. And then we about the construction of the universe, we said. Okay. So from the individual level, when we see the world, the construction of universe happens. And then we said about the antakarana and bahya. Next one is like, how are we perceiving? So when we tell about these five senses, that's a direct perception. So it is unable to perceive everything directly with the senses because we have many limitations. Okay. So we have to bring in another methods to receive knowledge or to perceive knowledge without fail. Then comes the inference. So direct knowledge is a pratiksha or like direct perception, sensory perception. Then comes the inference. We use inference. That is called the anumana in Indian context. Then another thing that which is not much. Pardon me. One another thing that which is not much understood by the world is the importance of authority. So Indic sciences use a lot of importance for the authoritative statements. It is not just somebody says, okay, someone comes up and okay, he declares himself as a guru or preceptor and he gives some statement and that is considered as an authoritative statement. No, there is specific criteria how to opt an authoritative statement. It is not just like if somebody comes and says something and that is a rule. No, it is not like that. In Indian context, we give a great importance to the authorities, and there are like many things are considered as authorities. They are debatable, but still we give a lot of importance to some kind of statements like the Karyakarnavada. So some rishis or some perceptors are giving with reason they will be explaining, okay, this is why we have to go with Karyakarnavada. So then once it is established, we consider it as an authoritative statement, but still it is questionable. That's why we have these many changes happen. So that I will come soon. So like there are different aspects of Karyakarnavada which develop later. When we consider this element of perception, I just whatever I said, like the direct perception, the inference, the authoritative statement, etc. These are the pramanas. Pramana means the mode of perception. Okay, this is how the mode of perception is. There are many other modes also which are not that much relevant. Then there is a prameya. So especially when in Indian context, the prameya changes as per the context. Okay, so prameya literally means the context of that, like that knowledge. So when we comes in, if we consider it as environment as the when we are seeking the knowledge about the environment or the Paryavarana, then that becomes a prameya. Okay, so then we apply this pramana, the techniques of pramana over this prameya, and then we comes up with a real knowledge. Okay, that is called as prama. That is called as prama. And the one who do all this is called the pramata. So in Indian context, the individual is important. Okay. And the thing that he is seeking is very important. And the mode of seeking is important. And the final result is also important. So we have to keep all these four things in mind. So there is a perceiver, and there's a mode of perception, and there is a focus of perception, or like what he want to perceive, and there's a perception. Okay, so the final perception, and there are like a clear rules given, or like a clear ideas and methodologies given to how to confirm that whatever we perceive is the right perception. Okay. So understanding that way, this is the methodology how the our perceptors, so like all teachers had seen this world, understood this world, and has given us the teachings. So we are coming to the end of today's slides, where like I started at the beginning, when we see this world, when we see this environment, or like the things around, we can very clearly understand that there is an I who is seeing this, and there is something which is not I, but what which I am seeing. Okay. So the rest quest all happens upon this, who is Atma. So here the I is the Atma, the self who is seeing, perceiving this world. And Anatma is anything and everything that is not Atma, the self. Okay. We are not taking the Atma as a soul thing here. Here the Atma means the self, and the Anatma means that which is not the self. Okay, the I or the individual, and that which is not the individual. Here in our context, it is the individual and his environment. That anything that he is seeing around him or perceiving around him. Also, 1 second. Oh, so we are almost at 11:45 now. Ravi, we can start have some discussion on this point, so that we can get into more clear topics tomorrow. Ravi.
Thank you, sir. It's requested to participant. You can unmute and have some question with the doctor Arun, sir.
Hope I made some sense to you guys, because I'm because this is a diverse listeners, because I had this limitation of how much I can speak about, or if you have any please please come up with that. Let's have a discussion. And if you feel that I had came up with something wrong that you are convinced, like let's have a discussion on that. I hope everybody understood, or like no one understood anything. Whatever maybe, like I would like to get your if you are okay, please. I will like to get your what you get from these 30-40 minutes, like how what you got, like what you perceived as a perceiver in last 10-40 minutes. Uh, and And if you want, like, there was a question that came with the response now to that was from yeah, Nabiendu sir, Nabiendu. So, so why we need to pretend to look after the environment, as we also know that human race is the only culprit behind its vulnerability and overall degradation. Uh, if we can, Mahalda sir, can you make that question more clear, or like we can discuss on that point? Are you there? Nabhi to Mahalda? Uh, Ravi?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Am I not audible, or like they don't have anything to discuss?
I don't think there are any questions from the participants.
But can I get an idea about like whether this was, did they get something out of that, or like, was that an just beating around the bush kind of thing happened now? So when there is nothing coming, returning, then I am in doubt. Okay, whether I did it well or not, or like otherwise I might have done it in a very best way, so that there is no doubt, or like there was no question at all. Or else like no one understood anything.
Okay. I request all the participants, if you have any doubts, please you can unmute and ask, or even type in the chat box.
Yeah.
And you can give your own take also if you have something to add from
Yes.
your side.
Yes.
You please let us know.
Um, by the time somebody will come with some doubt, or like discussion, I will try to come up with my intention. So today, we just see the very primary part of how like the Indic view is, like how the early Indians viewed this world. Okay, so that's a very basic of it. And tomorrow's session, we will try to bring all like each of these views into the practical aspect of environment. Okay, and this question that Dibyendu sir came up is very relevant, and this kind of like Indian philosophic thoughts can give a wonderful answer for this. So we will take this as a part, and we'll discuss that tomorrow also. About like why humans are pretending to tell nothing. Like now the pretending is kind of main thing happening these days. Like all are more pretending than being real. Okay, there are two chats there. You are discussing a question about why we pretend to be environment conversionist and still a culprit. Yes. Can you elaborate a view on this? Yes. So I will try to elaborate that thing. The basic problem happens with the vision that uh, we are just consumers. This is my life. Okay, this is my life. I am here to enjoy my life to the fullest, or to gain the maximum fruit of this life. And that too, when we say the fruit of maximum fruit of this life, the present day meaning is I will gain the maximum economic gain, and I will gain the maximum comfort, maximum fame, all these kind of things. Okay. So but when people are going beyond these patch, or like when they are behind hunting all these ideas, like okay, getting maximum financial gain or maximum fame, or like when we are just replenishing our egos, we will land up such trouble. And then we will do all this drama, because no, that is happening. Like I am not no one here to criticize what is happening around the world, but still, what I have observed is the one who cry for this, especially with environment. This is my personal observation. Those who cry more about the environment are the guys who do more harm to the world. Okay, this I have seen. This is my observation, what I have seen. So, but this happened. I can't blame them. That is because their view to the world is like that. Whereas once we can get them into the Indic idea of viewing this world, they will change totally. Where no, we in Indic aspect, we humans are not the best in this world. We are just a grain, or like not even we are just smaller than an atom in this universe. Okay. So we are not at all relevant for this universe. Even if these humans are there or humans are not there, the entire universe know how to sustain. And if we are creating trouble, we are creating trouble for ourselves or our future generation. So we will only suffer. So once we get this clarity, we will be doing things in a better way. This is my understanding is. And in Indic views, these things are pretty much addressed, So this is, but again, when we are considering this, it should not be against the progress and the development also. But progress and development doesn't means to sacrifice our existence itself. So my personal idea is that whenever we consider about the environment, we have to be more concerned about ourselves. If you want to survive, if you want your generation to survive, then behave. If we are not behaving ourselves, sure, maybe we'll go for another 10, 20 generation and that's done. So some mistake that is done today, within 20 generation, or maybe like I'm just making a count, like we with the entire world will suffer. And we are seeing that we have clear examples that are happening around our world. So we have to be aware. And again, one point, we are not the savior of this environment. We have to be very clear. We are nothing in this world. We are nothing. And this world and this environment know how to take care of itself. So if we behave, the world will be good with us. The environment will be good with us. And if we misbehave, we will give. That's where the karma theory enters. So that we will discuss in depth tomorrow. Hope Piyush, I give some insight to that, but we will consider this in depth tomorrow. We'll have an open discussion day tomorrow, Piyush.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for that. And I think there are no more questions, so we can wrap up for today.
Okay.
Okay.
Tomorrow we will be meeting again at 11, right?
Yes, sir. And we'll send a new link for tomorrow.
Sure.
Oh.
And by tomorrow, if our participants have some more insights, like Piyush said, so be ready for a discussion. So tomorrow, our aim will be a full open discussion. I will just give you some direction, some points. I will be a moderator than a speaker then. And we will discuss what we can do, and we'll try to come to a conclusion out of that. That will be better, right?
Yes, so there's another question from Harshal.
Yes, please.
So he's asking, can you summarize everything quickly, sir?
Yeah, sure. So I'll just get to the slides also. This is a quick summarize. The topic was Paryavaran Darshana, which is a Sanskrit term. Paryavarana is a direct translation of environment. Okay, so it is a Western term translated into Sanskrit words. So Paryavarana means that which covers, that which encircles us. Okay. So, and darshanam is the Indian word for philosophy, where it is having its specific meaning also. Here, darshanam gives more importance to the perception, the way you perceive this world or your mode of perception. And that is why we use the word darshanam than just tattva shastra or like a philosophy, which means like a quest for knowledge. Of course, it is a quest for knowledge. At the same time, we give more importance to perception. So that was the first aspect, and then the environment and the Paryavaran, that's already said, the Darshana, that is already said. So when we say Darshana, we have to keep in mind it is a philosophy. At the same time, the important points are there is a perceiver and there's a mode of perception and there's a perceived thing. So we have to do the right perception. Only the right perception, through right perception only we can act in the right way. So our darshana should be perfect. So our perception should be perfect. So to make this, so the whole intention of Indian philosophy is to give us a perfect way of perception. So that's the second point. And then the most basic point that led to the evolution of philosophy in India is the Karya Karana Vada. And Karya and Karana means, Karya means the effect or the result, whereas Karna is the cause. So seeing the result, we can understand the cause, and there is always a cause for anything to happen. So without cause, nothing happens. So this is a major standpoint of Indian philosophies. Whatever may be the philosophy, some may deny the karna, some may deny the karya, some may give importance to karna more, some may give importance more to karya, the result. But without karya and karna, Indian philosophy is not. So this is a major understanding we have to keep in our mind. Then there's a flow of philosophy. So from the modern academia, where divide it based on the Veda. So those who support Veda, these are the Astika, these are the Nastika. So that is not of any use. So that can be used as an analysis when we view Indian philosophy from an external perspective, from a third person perspective. But we being inside the inside this context, so we are standing inside the context. So we have to view it in a different way, where we start the philosophic flow from Sankhya philosophy, because that is the most matured philosophy that happened, and that gives the platform for all other philosophies. So all other philosophies are basically new versions of Sankhya philosophy, or like more clarity that happened to the Sankhya view of way of viewing this world. And among them, Sankhya is a Sankhya and yoga comes together. Yoga is more with by yoga, the moksha comes into the point, the liberation comes into, and Nyaya and Vaisheshika gives the logical reasoning, logics and reasoning into the philosophy. Then with the evolution of Nyaya and Vaisheshikas, the Charvakas came in, the materialistic view of this world. The Nirgranthas, they are more into, again, liberation, and karma theory evolved during the time of the Jain and Buddhist philosophies. And then Buddha is another turning point. So after Sankhya, which was established by Kapila Mahamuni, so later the next biggest turning point happens with Siddhartha Gautama, the 23rd Buddha. And then comes the Mimamsa and Vedanta, which is Mimamsa and Vedanta philosophies were already there. The Veda is there. So Mimamsa and Vedanta basically evolved from the Vedic structure, Veda, the four Vedas and all, and the related text. But with the influence of the above, the prior side philosophies only, a philosophy evolved out of Veda. So from Veda, there are two philosophies evolved out. One is the Mimamsa, which gives more into karma. So their karma means yaga yajnadis. They are more aimed towards Swarga and all. So then comes the Vedanta. So present day, we are living in the world of Vedanta. So there is a question always comes, why there is not much Buddhism said in India? Why? Because in India, we have the next version of Buddhism. So kind of Vedanta, without understanding Buddhism, we cannot understand Vedanta. So the scholars may not agree, especially the followers of these schools may not agree. But this is how, when we see as an academician, we will see it like this. Then another is the construction of the universe. That's the next question. So we already saw the Karya and Karna. Then we start discussing how this world come into existence. So the world come into existence because I am there. Because there is a person, an individual who sees this world. So the Sankhya philosophy comes up with this view. So they say that there is a Purusha, there is an individual who sees this world. The Purusha doesn't mean man, literal man here. The Purusha means the one who sees. So, and there is something which he sees. And that is the Prakriti, that's a physical world. So the physical world come into being when the Purusha sees this world. And how then we comes into the five Mahabhutas. So like, why only five Mahabhutas? Why only five Mahabhutas? Only because we have only five perceptions. So we have five perceptions. So we perceive this world in five ways, five modes. So we have five perception and five Mahabhutas. So Mahabhutas are not just something that is some creator God made, and with this the whole universe is where. No, that is not of any use. That concept is not of any use. It is, we perceive this world in five categories. So we came to an understanding that, okay, this world is made up of these five categories. That's why there are five Mahabhutas. Okay, and this world is made up of five Mahabhutas. This is our understanding, and there is nothing called Mahabhutas. That these are the concepts of our understanding for explaining this world. We have to keep this in mind. And next, I came to the Antakarana and Bahikarana, the internal organs and the external organs of perception and action. So the external are the five senses which perceive from external world, and there are five organs of action. Like our hands are there, legs are there, tongue is there. Then our respiratory organs are there, our reproductive organs are there. This is how we act in this world. That is not of much relevance here. Then comes the Antakarana. Antakaranas are the different faculties of mind. There are four major faculties we have to understand. This Manas, Buddhi, Ahankara, and Chitta. Manas is basically the perceiver, the first receiver of the information, and Buddhi is the analyzer or the discriminative faculty. And Ahankara is the I-ness. It is not ego, it is the I-ness, because we have to first identify ourselves, then only we can identify anything else. So that I-ness is Ahankara. And then comes the Chitta. Chitta is whereas the storehouse, we can say, like the memory part, or like whatever training or whatever knowledge we gained, we are stored there in the Chitta. So these are the five aspects of mind that we generally speak in Indian context. And the elements of perception. So whenever we perceive the world, there's a perceiver, there's a perceived world outside, and there's a mode of perception which is called the pramana. So in Indian context, we give a lot of importance, because with only understanding the mode of perception, we'll be able to have the right perception. So for getting right perception, we need a right mode of perception also. Okay, it's not just okay, something our eyes. It's not just because we are seeing that we are seeing, because we know how to see and how to analyze things. That's why we are seeing. So that will come tomorrow in more details. Then Atma and Atma Viveka, that we started with that only. And there is a self, and that is not self around us. So there's an individual and his environment around. Hope that you are fast review. And there's one more chat. Thank you, everyone. So tomorrow, be ready for a open active discussion. Please come up with your ideas. I'll be happy if I am getting challenged. Don't just receive because somebody is telling that you are not supposed to receive that. Please challenge so that we can get more clarity. Even I will get more clarity, and you will also get more clarity into the science in views. So that's what all the best to all. If there is no another doubts and questions, we can stop for the day.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for today's session.
Thank you.
And thanks to all the participants also for joining. I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a nice day. Yeah.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah.